Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We Should Have Recorded That with Phil and.
Adam.
Hey, Adam, how you doing?
I'm good, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing good too. I'm doing well.
Good. Thanks for taking the last week's episode solo without me.
No problem,
We
but I
should have
mean,
recorded that with Phil.
yeah, we missed you because, like I said in that episode, um, we're all educators, and so I would have loved to have had you on, but yeah,
Mm,
we did it. So nice to have you back. Nice to have you back.
thank you.
So, listeners, I hope that you are enjoying what you're hearing. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode with my sister, and we made history with our first familial guest. Uh, so, if you are, please reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. And with that being said, speaking of hearing from our listeners, we have a voice message that I promised you we would listen to today. So,
Ooh, this is exciting.
Hey, Phil and Adam. This is in response to the episode about who you're talking to, who your audience is. I think that we need to add narcissistic to the categories because I really get a kick out of hearing my name on your podcast. And I'm thinking maybe that's why I listen. But no, I know that I listen because I love your conversations and I always get something out of them. So keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you, Michelle.
yes, thank you, Michelle. We really appreciate that.
Now,
And
our other fans out there, don't you want to
yes,
hear your name on the podcast?
come on, guys. You know, we're appealing to the narcissist in you.
Yeah.
But yes, I we look forward to having Michelle and maybe some others on in the future because like we talked about in our audience episode, or who's listening, like she referenced. I really enjoy the different conversations, and learning from others. So
I'm with
yeah.
you. Yes.
Uh-huh. So this week, Adam, what are we going to talk about?
Well, at your suggestion, Phil,
Okay.
we are going to talk about the post concert debriefing process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so like I thought about this because you just had your first concert of the year,
Yes, first concert
right?
of the semester and
Uh-huh.
well, yeah, of the academic year. Oh, excuse me. Oh, guess what
We're
about
at the
today?
end of the day. We're at
Yes,
the end of the
yes,
day.
I love it.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, um, the post-concert debriefing process, which I just did yesterday with
Uh-huh.
my choir, and so yeah, want me to describe it?
Yeah, you can describe it and then we can kind of
All right,
comment on
I'll,
it. Yeah.
I'll describe it, and then you, Phil, as a former member of my choir, I, I'd like to hear, how the role this process had in, you know, how you felt about performances. So
Okay.
I have a ritual that is not my own. I cannot take credit for it. This was a tradition that Kevin Fenton, my mentor at Florida State University, one of my mentors at Florida State University, did with his choirs after every public performance. We would do a ritual called Low Highs. And the premise of Low Highs, which I just explained to my choir yesterday, because some of the new members don't know what low highs are. The premise is that you uh, may share with the group your concert experience high, the best thing about the performance for you, or you may share with the group your concert experience low, the worst thing about the concert for you, as long as you follow it up by sharing your concert experience high. And that is low highs. And
Mm-hmm.
we try to limit the number of times that each person goes. I'm in my old age. I'm getting more strict about enforcing only once are you allowed to give your low high. So it had better be your actual concert experience low and your actual concert experience high. Because if you think of something lower or something higher, after the fact, you're just not going to be able to say it out loud. You're going to have to just tell your friends after rehearsal. Um, so students, raise their hand, go around the room, and
Mm-hmm.
share with one another what their experiences were. And I think the fun thing about that experience is that there are things that people don't know about
Mm-hmm.
the performance, how their choir mates were experiencing the performance. For example, like my shoe came untied and I nearly tripped off the riser. Well, you know what? Only that one person and maybe the guy behind him
Mm-hmm.
knows that that actually happened. So that's a fun thing for people to know. Oh, okay, that concert experience low. And then for concert experience highs, uh, I think the ones that we don't share as a corporate experience are the my grandmother came up to me after the concert in tears because she was so moved by, and so it is fun for everyone to hear those uh, reactions. So, Phil, what role did this experience, this routine, this ritual play in your own concert experiences?
Yeah, so I don't want to skip over the fact that you just said you're limiting the low highs. You know, you're becoming like grumpy Dr. Potter over here. So what's going on?
Phil, we just have more music to get to, and I feel
Uh,
I feel like I am, yes, maybe I am grumpy Dr. Potter, but also I'm, I am, it's for the good of the students because
okay. Uh-huh.
you're too lazy in your thinking.
Oh,
If you talk first and you're like, my gosh, your screen's high, I don't know, there was that note I liked, and then someone else says something and then you think of a
it
better high,
triggers
well
your
too
thought.
bad, you need to think of your high. This is just like being in the professional world, right, Phil? You
Uh-huh.
can't give your best on your second try. You need to give your
Yeah.
best from the get-go.
Man, you're pretty quick on your feet. You're pretty quick on your feet.
You don't think I've thought of this before, Philip?
You're pretty quick. Because the first thing I was gonna say about the low high experience is that it is kind of a break from the pace of coming in, um, uh, warming up and getting right into music, and we spend the whole 90 minutes working on music,
Yes.
whatever it is,
Yes.
and so uh huh. I don't know. It's so like for me that is one of the first things, and not that I don't enjoy it. I really enjoy that. I was I've shared with you that I've joined a community chorale here in South Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and that time just flies by. The rehearsal is from 7:30 to 10, and that 3.5 hours just fly by, or is it three, or maybe it's 2.5 hours. That time flies by when you're working on music, and so I really
Yes.
enjoyed that process. But it is a break, and then
Mm-hmm.
the other thing that I think I really enjoy, like you said, is the different points of view. Um, you know,
Yes.
because yeah, I'm hearing it from from my bass section, or wherever in the back or whatever,
Yep.
and I'm seeing it only from my place. But during that time, you can kind of like I just think about myself on the stage, and I can kind of imagine, oh, I did see that out of the corner of my eye, where this person or someone else, that was the moment for them. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. And so yeah, that's kind of one of the those two things for me. The
Yes.
things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It does make for a good break.
Uh
Um,
huh.
Yesterday I did something I've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, that's not true. I have done this before when we were about to begin learning a major work. We would sit and listen. Once before, we sat and listened to the entire major work. But
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, I ran after low highs and then a student-led devotional. I um, I played the entire program of pieces that we're about to do for the
Mm-hmm.
chorale, and that's something I'd never done before. So we actually did no singing in rehearsal yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but something that a piece of student feedback I got last year was that students didn't understand the theme of the
Mm-hmm.
concert because I didn't actually stop and lead them through from beginning to end. And so
Mm-hmm.
I felt like to put our learning in context and to motivate us in our learning, I would share the entire program. Um, I always make a YouTube playlist of the program, but I have no idea if students actually go and listen to it. So now I've forced them to listen to it.
Right.
Um, and it did seem to generate a good deal of excitement.
Well,
Um,
great.
yeah. So that I added that to the low highs day uh,
Uh-huh.
this time for the first time, and yeah, we'll see if the motivation to learn new music stays with us. Maybe I'll make that a regular part of our low highs
Mm-hmm.
day. Uh, or if it doesn't, then I will conclude that it was a wasted effort and never do it again.
Well, I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray and hope with you that it wasn't a wasted effort, and that it will be a marker, a mile marker. Do you remember how they sung that major chord? Do you remember how it? Do you remember how that felt? I want you to recreate that. That it could be maybe a mile marker for them as you go into the start the learning process. So,
Yeah,
hmm
yeah. I hope so. I hope so. I am. This is tangential. This is
uh
actually, I
huh,
don't even know if this qualifies as a tangent. It's pretty much unrelated. But I will say the program that I shared with the chorale is something I'm really excited about. So
uh
I
huh.
hope that it is. Oh gosh, I don't want to distract us, but can I? Gosh,
Yeah.
should
Go
I?
ahead. Go
No.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So it is inspired by Hebrews 6:19.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'll just actually I'll put it in context, and I will just say this: in Hebrews 6:18, the author of the Epistle to the Hebrews says that those of us who place our faith in Christ have fled for refuge,
Mm.
and that uh, he hopes we might have strong encouragement to hold fast to the hope set before us. And then
Mm-hmm.
in the next verse, he writes, "We have this as a sure and steadfast anchor of the soul, a hope that enters into the inner place." And so, based on those words, I've constructed getting us through the pandemic, getting us through the strife of the world kind of theme called Hope steadfast anchor of the soul. And um, those words, soul and anchor, are the cornerstones of the entire program. Um, and another thing I'd like, I'm going to be done after this.
It's okay.
Another
It's
thing
all
I
right.
like about this program is that it is seamless from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
We will not take applause, but not only that, not only will we not take applause, but we won't take a pitch at any point from the beginning of the program to the end of the program, because um, every key that we start in is directly related to the key of the piece that we just ended.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's. I mean, you really. Yeah. I'm. I. You kind of. I mean, kind of. If. And I know because you shared this with me that you were performing this in December. I really am. Maybe I'll see if I can't find my way to Rochester to hear you all, because I would really like
Oh,
uh,
who doesn't want to come to
to experience.
Rochester in December?
Right, of course. Like I'm. Everybody's gonna be leaving, and I'm coming. So,
Yes, but yeah, no,
but
I'm very excited. I don't have I shared with our audience that the crowd is singing at this conference.
no, I don't think you have.
Oh, okay, well, I'll just yeah. So this program that we're getting started on is for the New York State School Music Association's winter conference. So there are thousands of music educators from across the state and really across the country who will be at this conference, and I'm very excited for the chorale to have been chosen to sing at this conference. I had to submit application materials back in the spring, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very excited to share this group and our music and our just our identity, who we are, with the music educators of New York.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting. When as you were kind of sharing the theme, what I thought about, and I want to share two experiences really quick. That the low high time is a chance to kind of reflect on the theme. So like as you're hearing maybe people
Mm-hmm.
express their like that entreat me not to leave you, this part, or the
Yes.
the song, this part from that song, how I just really was reflecting on those two parts while we were singing. Like you is a chance to
Yes.
maybe understand the theme if you didn't before. Like if you didn't catch it, before, like hearing someone else talk about it is a chance to catch it. And I think, and I'm getting kind of chills thinking about this. Not only because it's cold in my house, but I remember I had to say that joke. I had to say that.
Uh,
But anyway, I'm done being distracted. But I remember when I think it was our last concert in France. Um, and when Yeah, I think it was the last concert. And that night, I don't know how long our low highs went that night. I mean, it was, um, and I think some people really understood. Like I think I've shared this before, like just how powerful singing could be. Because there was a
mm,
like the fact of, is this missional, is this ministry, and like just how
yes.
impactful that could be, and not only for our audience, but for the chorale, but for the
Yes.
members. And
Yes.
and like it was so amazing to kind of experience that. And I forget, I'm gonna say the name wrong because I think we were like in Bayou. How you say it? Bayou? Was that?
How
I
about
think
you?
that was
Yep.
the Bayou.
Hmm.
'Cause We did a we
That
did
was
a
our
we
final evening concert.
right, right. And the
Yes. And
fact
then we
that
did a church service the next morning.
right. And I mean, and the thing about the concert in Bayou is that it was like it's the Notre Dame of the Netherlands, right? I think, or something like that. And so people are coming. I think
We were still in France, Phil.
not Netherlands. Where we where not what is it? It starts with
Normandy.
Normandy. That's what I'm
Normandy.
trying to say. Normandy. Thank you. Sorry. You could tell that was my first time leaving the country. I mean, so in Normandy, um, and so people were coming in, coming out. But I really could say more people were coming in than were leaving out. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
at one point there was the crowd, a kind of a crowd gathered at the back of the cathedral, because they were just and
Yes.
so again, so like we were able to reflect on it, and people were kind of sharing their moments and what they were seeing in that time of the Lohi experience. So it was, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. It was very special.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. I will. This is not related to our topic, but that tour,
Mhm.
the Bayeux, the Bayeux concert and the concert in Rennes
Mhm.
will forever be etched in my memory. That tour was not a lot of fun to lead,
Right. Uh huh.
but there were some spectacular musical moments that made up for the stress and
Right.
the oh the I
You don't
joked
have
that
to
I was going
relive
to
it.
go.
Yes.
I joked that I was going to go back the next summer. You remember
Mhm.
that, Phil, right? I was going to
Mhm.
go back the next
Mhm.
summer and revisit all of those places, but on my own, so that I could just like pee on my own schedule. And uh, yes, then COVID hit.
Or
So,
not Pia at all.
or just keep going because we didn't. Oh, never mind. I will not turn this episode into a tirade on the lack of public facilities in France.
But but yeah, I think yeah, we've lived that. I think the next time you just have to you want to be able to just pull your music out of your baton and just conduct, like just not think about the rest.
Yes, I think maybe next time that we go overseas, we'll just pay someone.
Yes, yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah,
pay a tour
yeah.
company. Yeah, I don't need that again. That's a young man's job, and I don't have it in me anymore.
But no, but that definitely was. I'm really glad I had that experience, and I'm I pray and hope that your current members will again have some of those experiences. Um, do you have any other thoughts about high lows, low highs? Why I keep saying high lows, low highs?
Um, I no, I think Um, I guess I'll just say one more thing about low highs. I think it is really beneficial for the sense of community in the ensemble
Yes. Mm-hmm.
if, to give every student a chance to speak. Now, of course, in chorale, we do that anyway with, students have the opportunity to give a
Devotion.
devotion or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
that's very formal, or at least that's more
Right.
formal than
Right.
just off the cuff sharing thoughts for 30 seconds. And so I do think it's really great to hear from those students who would not volunteer to speak in front of the group otherwise.
Right.
So I love that aspect. I love hearing students' perspectives in the music making experience. And, I hear a lot of, my advisees, music education majors, students who are particularly apt to share with me and stop by my office, those people I hear from, but I don't hear from
Mm-hmm.
every member of
Mm-hmm.
the chorale. On low high days, I hear from almost all the members of the chorale, and I love that.
Yeah, I had that thought too, because that could be, you know, I mean, I was kind of like a chaplain, so I almost was like speaking almost every chorale rehearsal
Mm-hmm.
because we were doing something at the beginning. But yeah,
Yep.
like I mean, hearing from those students who probably wouldn't sign up to do a devotion because that is kind of scary, right? You got to prepare some
Yeah,
scripture or
yeah,
whatever, or some thought, to share.
yeah,
And sometimes there was those were some of the most interesting from those people. So
yes,
mm, so
yes.
yeah,
Oh,
building community,
so true.
building community.
Building
Yeah,
community,
hmm
so important.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Phil, I think that's everything I have to say about post-concert debriefing process.
Well, I think this was really good. I really enjoyed talking about it again. So let's jump into our last two segments, shall we? Um,
Let's do it.
do you
Current events.
would you like to go first?
Um, sure.
Okay, I'm
I'm gonna make
thinking
it. I'm
myself.
gonna make it really short. Or at least I'm gonna try to.
Okay.
Um, I I am just demoralized. I don't know if that's too strong a word, but I think it's right. I think that's accurately gauges how I feel. I'm demoralized by the dysfunction in Washington D.C. and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that we have like a government shutdown looming again. I I just want I just want you know how judges can order like if a union wants to go on strike, you know how judges can order
Mm-hmm.
the company and the union representatives like can
To sit
they
down.
have to sit down in a room together. They're
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to come out until they have a
Right.
deal. I
Yeah.
just want I want to do that with Congress. I just want to be like Democrats and Republicans, you have to talk to one another and you don't get to leave this room until you've figured it out. So I want I just I'm so fed up. They're just so dysfunctional.
Yeah. We have to we got to find a way to remove the incentive to be
Mm,
so partisan, like because right, there is so much of an incentive to be like hyper partisan right now. We got to find a way to remove that incentive.
vote these hyper partisan people out of office.
Yes. That's
uh,
the easy answer.
yeah.
That's the easy
Well,
answer.
you know. Anyway, that's my current event. What's yours?
So I'm going to. I got to start writing these down because I had so many. I'm like, oh, that would have been good. But anyway, mine is going to be really quick. So, excuse me. Although Florida is one of those places where, it's kind of a wild, wild west of how are we dealing with COVID, and everything. But in the county where I work, at least the numbers keep going down in Dade County, the biggest county. And so that's really glad to see and hear that. And so hopefully the numbers keep going down and we can kind of keep them down. Whether you're wearing a mask or getting vaccinated, just do whatever we need to do to keep the numbers down.
Yes. Yes.
So
Oh, let's hope they continue to fall.
yeah.
All right.
All
So that
right.
brings us to our final segment.
Yes.
Phil, what did you learn today?
I'm gonna say two things because these are both very good things I learned today. I'm gonna start with the. I'm gonna go from the profound to the shallow. The
Okay.
previewing the future concert program. Um, I thought that's a great idea, and hopefully that can give some cohesion. Uh, as you are learning pieces, the members can kind of understand how they fit together, and then Grumpy Dr. Potter, the shortening of the low highs to one per student. I'm a,
Oh, okay, grumpy Dr. Potter. I will say I had one student yesterday who wanted to speak
uh-huh.
again,
Uh-huh.
and I said, "I'm sorry, you've already had your turn." He's like, "I'll make it really short." I said, "Okay, go." And then I held
You
up 10
kept
fingers
it.
and I counted down, and I really did limit him to 10 seconds.
Wow. All right.
Grumpy Dr. Potter.
Grumpy Dr. What did you learn today, Adam?
I was just reminded, as you described, doing the post concert debrief at the end of that France tour. I was
Mm-hmm.
reminded of, yeah, the power that this process can have. Sometimes, the lows are really funny, right? Like, oh, my concert was
Right,
very
yeah.
low. Like, like I farted
Yeah.
in the middle of the concert, whatever. It can be really very humorous.
Yes.
Um, but uh, the highs can be pretty profound. And
Mm-hmm.
they can give you a sense of purpose. They can give you a sense of community, camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah. So thank you for reminding me of that, Phil, of that very special low high experience, um, and how powerful it can be.
Yeah. 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 Wow. Yeah. That's a great way, great note to end on tonight, I think.
All right. Well
All
then,
right.
I will say bye for now.
Adios.